This is Masters Report, and I'm John Masters, also keeping you informed of what's going on within our government, within the police departments, within the federal government. And one of the things I like to talk about is not only laws that affect our rights, but bills or Supreme Court decisions that are coming up that are going to affect the entire nation, which means that it affects you also. So I come across this story and I thought you guys might be interested in it. I know it's interesting, okay? Or else I wouldn't bring it up. Supreme Court defies Biden administration, accepts immigration EPA cases. All right, here's the big thing. Remember when Obama was in office? Uh, Essentially, what the Democrats are wanting to do. And again, I'm not knocking down Democrats because Republicans do the same thing just in a different way. But they're using the EPA as the strong arm for climate change. In other words, controlling the resources within the United States. So the more power that the EPA has, well, the more control that they're going to have. And that was an issue that they had with the big T when he was in office, in that he was rolling back a lot of those EPA authorities. So the Supreme Court decided October 29 to hear two cases that the Biden administration did not want the court to hear. One, aimed at reviving a rule that screens out potentially government dependent immigrants, and another that could roll back the reach of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Now, here's what's also interesting. The decision also came as the court prepares to hear high profile cases in coming days dealing with a Texas law strictly regulating abortions and a New York law that strictly regulates gun use. The Supreme Court agreed to hear Arizona versus San Francisco, Court File 21775, which concerns the so called public charge rule. Arizona Attorney General Mark, not even trying it. What is that, Ronovich? Something like that. A Republican was pleased the High Court will hear the case. When other federal officials don't defend the law, I will, said he made in a statement. The public charge rule is a common sense policy based on real inconvenient truth. Overrunning Here we go. Overrunning our welfare program right now would be like pulling back the last safety net for Americans who need it most. In the case, a Republican Attorney General of Arizona and 12 other states asked the High Court to be allowed to defend in court a Trump era rule designed to screen out would be immigrants unable to support themselves, enforcing the immigration self sufficiency rule, which, it's a rule, guys. And generally speaking, if you or I decide that we're not going to follow the rules, well, we go to jail unless you're a government official. Anyways, it goes into a little bit more detail, but that's pretty much the gist of it. What I wanted to do too was to talk about some of the questions that you guys have had for me. You've been asking, okay, John Masters, what about your boat? What's going on? I hear you're at anchor. Are the port authorities messing with people that are at anchor? No, they're still not really messing with people that are at anchor, and it's not the port authorities. It's the local police departments. They're wanting to make sure that you've got mask light on if you have a mask. There's a night light visible. It's got to be, I believe, 8 inches above the gun rail. Things along that line. So they are kind of harassing a little bit, but not a lot. There's a federal law. This is actually international law. This is all of the what's called the ICW and the ocean. Okay, the ICW itself. That's all federal property. Okay, and you can anchor on federal property as long as you're not inhibiting traffic. So there's not really a whole lot that they can do about it. Some cities have tried things like you've got to move your boat after 2 weeks. Well, you can move it and then bring it back. But that was fought. And a lot of this is out of Florida, down in the Keys, where they're really, really wanting to regulate hard people that are at anchor. But it was fought in court. The court said, you're the local police department. You can't force them to unanchor and then move and then come back. So that's not really going anywhere. It's not really, again, most of that depends on where you park at. Now, when it comes to the boat, yes, I got it now that it's livable. When I first got it, it wasn't. There wasn't even a floor in this thing. And that was part of the reason I took the sabbatical. I made it all the way from Manderville, which is outside of New Orleans, all the way down, and I'm now outside of Florida, up around the Clearwater area. So that was a pretty good trip. It was in really bad weather. Beat the hell out of my boat. I kind of limped into Clearwater. Had to fix my bilge pump, a bunch of other stuff. Starter got wet. The whole motor got wet. Just impeller went out. There's an impeller. It's called raw water sewage, or not sewage, but raw water intake, and it goes to a heat converter to where it's like a radiator. Okay. Well, the impeller, there's a rubber impeller that pulls the water. Well, that went out. In other words, I limped into clear water, so I had a bunch of repairs that I needed to do. And again, I took the sabbatical mainly because I was exhausted by doing all the repairs coming out here and getting some work done on the boat, making it watertight. Yes, it used to leak a lot, everywhere. But it's okay, guys. I own the boat. I've got a place to live no matter what for the rest of my life. And it's for free. Then I had to pick up about 600 watts of solar panels. Had to get that hooked up. There's just been a lot that I've been doing to get this thing livable. Oh, and I also had to pick up a dinghy because you got to go in and then you got to come back out to your boat. So your dinghy's kind of like your car. But hang on one second here. Now, y'all also asked about MeWe. Guys, I can't get into any of my accounts, okay? I can't get into any of them. My computer got wet coming out here. Again, a bunch of stuff happened. It was a rough trip, but the computer got wet, so it died. I bought another computer, and they won't let me into my account without a verification. Unfortunately, the account that I need to get into is also my Google Voice account, which would get the code, which I can't get into to get the code. All of my accounts were tied into talkconnections@gmail.com. Okay. I can't get into it, which means I can't get into anything. So I'm pretty much starting fresh. You can let the guys know on MeWe if you want to. I'll probably start another MeWe account because MeWe wants to verify. Everybody wants to verify, but I can't because I can't get into my account. So I hope that explains that. It's not that I was brushing you all off or anything. It's just I can't get into it. So give me a couple of weeks. I'll probably get another one started. I probably won't be doing much live stream. Again, I'm off grid. I like being off grid. It's hard to explain. You'd have to do it to see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of peace of mind to it, which means that I'm running off of my phone. Okay. And while I have unlimited data on the phone, I don't have unlimited hotspot. Yeah, kind of weird how they do that. They really don't want you using your laptop through your phone. So I got like 10 gigs that I get to work with. So what I'll do is I'll create a video and then I'll copy it over into my phone and then I upload it there. That way I'm, able to use the computer. But okay, guys, if you guys got other questions, put it in comments and I'll make sure to answer them. Till tomorrow or my next video, I'm John Masters.